Hello, guys. How are you doing? I can't see you anymore, but I see that you're still riveting and you want to listen to my speech now. And I am so excited today to talk to you about Think, Feel, Excel, the only business framework you will ever need. 100% guarantee. I stamp it, I seal it. If you go out here, then you come back later to me and you ask me for the money. Okay, good, I'm seeing you. Perfect. But let's start with Think, Feel, Excel. And instead of boring you today with how I cleverly string together these three words into a new framework, which is the most amazing one you've ever seen, I wanted to actually tell you the story from me being a bullied gay kid to today and gorgeous young executive standing in front of you today, openly and proud, and how this actually helped me develop this framework. But, yes, you see it will be fun and games. Before we go into fun and games, I wanted to start this speech with an actually sad fact. Until today, the Trevor Project actually found out and estimates that roughly every 45 seconds, an LGBTQI youth is trying to commit suicide in the United States alone, okay? And I know, right, I can stand here in front of you and talk about my business model and make goofy faces, but a lot of people can't. And there still is so much to do, and especially for our young generation. And so at the end of this speech, I want you to keep in mind that during my speech, and we will have fun and we will laugh, there will be 15 teenagers committing suicide or trying to commit suicide in the United States alone, and globally, we don't even want to imagine what that number might be. So there's a lot to do, and I'm so proud to stand in front of you because this means representation, and it still is important today. But now to my journey. It's a little bit more funny, and you can see it already. I come from a very small rural village in the south of Germany, 1,300 people, 50,000 cows. Every teenager's dream, you can imagine, right? No clubs, no bars, no nothing. We had a supermarket, I think, not even that. But yes, and I thought, okay, cool. Everything could be idyllic, normal, perfect life. But I guess I always was a little bit extra. And I was thinking whether this is the choice of makeup I have today, but I thought maybe some other day. And therefore, yes, I personally only realized that I might be gay at the age of roughly 13. But my friends did suspect that far earlier. And you saw I wore round gold glasses. I always had a little bit more what people would consider more feminine mannerisms. And I spoke like this because I was a soprano. Perfect for High School Musical. Perfect, but also perfect for getting the craziest nickname already quite early. And so I was gay Harry Potter. Fits quite well, don't you think? And when I look back at it now, I think they might have had a point. But yes, it's okay. The color which comes out of my wand is perfect, and we want to show this today, all this sparkle around. But this name calling wasn't the catalyst for me standing here today and finding this model, but actually a fateful day. And I want to bring you back now to this story. I'm not sure about you, but I drove with a school bus home, and in our school there was a strict rule. The uncool kids and young ones like me in the front, and the cool boys and girls and older ones at the back. For me to get home, I needed to get out of the bus, move to the back, and go to my home and apartment. All the cool kids came in front of me. On that day, I was 12, roughly 12. A 17, 18-year-old guy came up to me, walked straight towards me, looked me into my face, and hit me, straight in the face. And he said me, and excuse me for my language, "Get out of my way, you fat," and I don't even want to finish the word because you can imagine what that was. Now, being 12 years old, struggling, not even knowing yet that you're gay, and then when I soon, at 13, roughly found out and that I probably am gay and not Harry Potter, sadly, I realized, wow, it will be a hard journey. It actually preempted me to be afraid of myself. And it accumulated in this crazy moment that when I did an exchange year at 15, 16 in New York City, that people actually thought I'm a homophobe. Why? Because I tried to block any advances and be very vehement. I don't want to talk to LGBTQI plus people because I was so afraid if someone finds out, I get hit again. I didn't have any physiological difference, right? I was just a normal person and was quite bad and hard. But thanks to amazing friends in my theater group back then, they kind of suspected that something is up, and they gave me materials. A lot of things to read through, also a cool TV show to watch. And I did. And I read through it, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh man, it's actually not that bad, it's normal. Oh, there's more to this than just being bullied. And this thinking really helped me kind of create a battle plan and be prepared, be not as afraid anymore. But only intellectually thinking about your sexuality, of course, doesn't work. And I was lucky enough that I lived in Manhattan, close to Manhattan, right? So that I walked past the Fifth Avenue Abercrombie and Fitch store, and maybe some of you are old enough to remember what was in front of them. Yeah, I'm sorry for me just drooling there. But that actually helped me to also find kind of these gorgeous bodies to not only think about my sexuality, but feel it, internalize it, and be ready. And then over time kind of accept it. And do you know what that felt like? Colorful. Freedom. Not scared anymore. Just happy. Happier than I've ever been. And it really helped me to kind of excel in my life later. Get good positions and be happier in general. Now, I know a lot of you, right, don't have the same story, and I don't want to bore you just about sexuality talks today, but actually, all of us have struggles, and all of us sometimes when we don't feel that everything works quite well. And I had my multitude as well. For example, I got a boss once substituted in because they thought I have shortcomings. I found out I have a chronic disease, all these beautiful things which all of us sometimes have. But I never got back to that point where I thought, oh, I'm not accepting this. Yes, it hurts in the beginning, but I realize when I get through it, I feel so much happier, so much lighter, so much freer. Now I'm an inquisitive mind, and I thought, let's dissect this. Can this actually not only help me personally, but are there kind of parallels to business? And I wouldn't stand here if I would say no, so it's kind of a rhetorical question. Yes, it is. And so my think, feel, excel, 3 omnipotent steps kind of got born. Now let's start with the first one. I talked about it a little bit already, thinking. Now, for me to come out, it was really crucial and be a little bit more at ease. I needed to think through it. I needed to strategize. I needed to learn about it and really go deep through these materials. And I felt calmer and more structured. Now think of a business setup. And you've been in a lot of them, right? How often have you seen the moment where the decision was taken by the CEO or the decision was taken by the VP marketing, and suddenly nobody ever did a calculation where this ever worked? Nobody actually took maybe more than 20 minutes to think through whether this strategy actually happens. And we celebrate this today, right? We celebrate this entrepreneurial spirit, and I think that's important, especially in startups, right? But what is the feeling that creates in you when there's a decision taken with little chance to succeed or not thinking at all? Typically chaos, unstructured, and scary, right? All the emotions I felt while I was trying to come out. And especially in today's world, where resources are scarce, it is essential to take some time to think through it. Because there's so many options. But maybe doing an internal focus test, maybe doing a calculation, maybe actually designing a goal in the first place would be great. That you pick the right door in the end and that you're not getting lost in that whole space. Now, right, one thing I want to take you with me, please promise me, think next time you take a decision, take a blocker into your calendar to really think about it a little bit more and really try to have maybe an analysis or looking at it with data. Cool, so think. I will ask you later, so please be careful what the 3 things are. Next one, feeling. Now, intellectually understanding to be gay, sure, is quite easy, but feeling it is the next big step. And for me, yeah, it really worked. But it was a different setup, right? You don't have probably 6-pack abs during your business life, and that's totally fair and appropriate. But generally, emotions and feelings are so essential in your day-to-day. I know that many of us, and sometimes even myself, kind of regard this as fluff feelings, come on. And when I took my first decisions as a leader, I remember I had my first team and I kind of told them, this is the greatest strategy, it's the greatest analysis. After week 1, by the way, what did they think? We don't feel it. And then did the outcome happen really? Great? No. And I didn't feel it actually either. I just thought, okay, on paper it looks good, but is it really the thing I want to do? And so it comes down, especially in business, to not only deciding things based on analysis, which you should do in the first place, but then trying to use your educated gut feel, spending time to focus on the human factor, because these are the people, these are the teams which you can help and which help you to actually grow your business and make sure that you get to the next level. So next time, before you take a decision which is sound and well thought through, also take into consideration how does it make you feel, your team feel, and do you believe it's the right thing? And think of a communication plan. Sometimes taking 5 minutes just to understand, hey, how do I actually want to communicate this decision is quite essential. Now lastly, right, it's about excelling. Now you think, Toby, how did you excel in being gay? And believe me, I did. Oh my gosh. Again, I don't want to go too much into details. I think this was Robert. But other than this, there, of course, is no excelling in being gay. Don't get me wrong, right? But for me personally, to out myself to more people, to talk to more people, to get in tune more, to get out there, made me comfortable enough to stand in front of you today, make some lewd jokes. Some of you laughed, some of you won't, and some of you will. And that's kind of the whole story, right? It helped me get through it, get excellence. And when you think of, right, when you think of businesses, typically it stops after the analysis and then kind of the communication plan. And we are also as a society kind of polled like this. But in today's world, excellence is actually the key determinant. Now imagine two companies, right? There's hundreds of startups. I worked in the startup world after I worked in the corporates. Hundreds of startups. Most of them have the same product, almost similar, maybe different logo and the cool fancy, I don't know, CI, but it's the same thing. And one succeeds and one doesn't. Why? Implementation excellence. Because when one company is doing Facebook marketing, kind of good, and you are doing Facebook marketing, kind of good, nobody is winning. This 80-20 Pareto accept, which does exist, sure, and sometimes is important, doesn't work, especially in a lot of functions in today's world. You sometimes need to get that 100%. You need to excel. You need to actually bring in the work. And we want to be lazy, we want to be simpler, but that's not how it is. In today's world, you need to excel. So in the future, right, please really think of how it's not just about thinking and feeling, but then continuously improving, continuously optimizing, continuously getting to the next level. Now granted, I know, Excel is maybe a stretch to my coming out story, but when I wrote the speech, I was thinking, Toby, no, it's actually quite true. These were exactly the steps you did. And when I lost or forgot one of them, in business specifically, typically things didn't work out quite well. If I was too lazy to think of an implementation plan, it didn't work out. If I didn't really help my team to feel it, it didn't work out. If I didn't have a strategy, it didn't work out. So basic. Thinking, making the analysis, setting the target, making sure you have a plan, feeling, right? Engaging the emotions and excelling, trying to improve. Now it's a school, so I want you now to say these 3 words. What is the first one? Think, okay, I like that 3 people did it, perfect. Now the next one. Perfect, and now? Very good. I will ask you later at the cocktail party, perfect. But nevertheless, thank you so much, this is great. But now I want to come back because it's been a long speech and I hope this simple mindset will now be in your head. I want to come back to my initial statement. And I want to talk again about LGBTQI youth. And I do that because my coming out story helped me to stand here in front of you today, and show you my amazing money back guarantee model and framework. But a lot of people and a lot of teenagers will never stand on this stage. Why? Because their model will never be built. Never. And so I want to end this with a message to these teenagers out there who struggle with their sexuality like I did years ago, and to the parents who are supporting them, and to a lot of friends who know that they are struggling. It will get better, it really does. And you can be anyone you ever want to be. So thank you so much, and remember, think, feel, excel. Bye.